As of today, XRP is trading at around $2.02, XLM sits near $0.231, and XDC is hovering about $0.056. Glance at those numbers and it's easy to assume nothing's happening. Flat, they say. Dead, they whisper. But here's the thing. The true story isn't in the price charts. It's in the quiet construction happening behind the scenes. This isn't about chasing the next pump. It's a wake-up call. In the short term, these coins might look dormant, but while everyone's watching the hype, institutions are building with them. And by the time it hits mainstream, it will already be too late to get in cheap. Think of XRP, XLM, and XDC as the foundation stones of a financial pivot. If you're ready for a deeper dive into what's really unfolding, why these assets are much more than overnight bets, let's go. Right now, everything looks calm. Too calm. Crypto feels like it's on mute. Retail investors have gone quiet. The loud Twitter spaces are half empty. YouTubers are recycling the same Bitcoin ETF narratives. Ethereum is still dealing with high gas fees and L2 fragmentation. And everything else? Barely mentioned. XRP, XLM, and XDC? Most people have written them off entirely. They're not trending. They're not mooning. They're not in your favorite influencer's thumbnail. The price charts look flat. To the average investor, they look like ghosts of the last bull run, left behind, forgotten, irrelevant. But that's exactly the illusion, because beneath that still surface, something massive is moving. You have to understand, this isn't a typical crypto cooldown. This is the silence before a reset. The groundwork for a seismic shift in how global finance operates is already being laid out, brick by brick, line of code by line of code. While retail sleeps, institutions are not just preparing. They're deploying. Private blockchains, tokenized settlements, CBDC pilots, cross-border liquidity hubs. It's all happening right now, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss the greatest wealth transfer of our generation. And guess what? XRP, XLM, and XDC aren't just part of that equation, they're sitting at the center of it. Let's break it down. The Ripple network is onboarding more payment corridors than ever before. Stellar's enterprise adoption is expanding, especially in emerging markets where banking infrastructure is being leapfrogged entirely. XDC is becoming a sleeper giant in trade finance digitization, tapping into trillion-dollar inefficiencies no meme coin will ever touch. But because none of this is happening on flashy crypto exchanges or in Reddit pump threads, most people think nothing is happening at all. This is how it always goes before a major paradigm shift. Think about 2007. Everyone was staring at home prices. No one saw the subprime collapse until the wave was already crashing. Or look at the dot-com era. People mocked internet stocks before Amazon changed the world. History repeats. The signs are always there, but only the few who are really watching see them early enough to act. Right now, the signs are flashing in front of us. The ISO 20022 messaging standard is going live. The World Bank and IMF are exploring blockchain interoperability. Digital wallets are replacing bank accounts in regions with no legacy rails. And liquidity is being redefined not by Swift or JP Morgan, but by blockchain-native protocols like XRP, XLM, and XDC. This isn't some distant roadmap or 5-year fantasy. This is real infrastructure getting plugged in today. And here's the catch. When the system flips, it won't be announced with fireworks. It'll just be the new normal. Banks will settle in seconds instead of days. Cross-border fees will vanish. Trade settlements that used to take weeks will happen instantly. Retail won't even realize it until it's already priced in. The dead coins you ignored at 60 cents, 12 cents, or 4 cents will be out of reach. And the people who bought the silence? They'll own the rails. So if you're watching XRP, XLM, and XDC and wondering why they're not doing anything, understand this: value is shifting from speculation to foundation. And these three aren't just surviving, they're being chosen. Chosen by banks. Chosen by governments. Chosen by the future. Still think crypto's quiet? No, the crowd is quiet. The noise is gone. But the signal is louder than ever, if you know where to listen. Now's the time to pay attention. Because when this stage erupts, 90% of the world will be shocked it was happening the entire time. Let's make one thing crystal clear. XRP, XLM, and XDC are not hype coins. They're not here for your 15-minute pump. They don't rely on influencer tweets, viral memes, or TikTok trends. These assets weren't built to go viral, they were built to run the next financial system. And the difference shows in their DNA. Let's break it down. XRP, the institutional bridge that doesn't sleep. XRP isn't trying to be money. It's trying to move it instantly across borders 24/7. Ripple didn't design XRP to compete with your bank. They designed it to connect every bank. XRP is a neutral, trustless bridge asset that eliminates the need for Nostro/Vostro accounts. That means no more tying up billions in pre-funded liquidity across the globe. It allows value to move like data, fluid, fast, and frictionless. We're talking about 3 to 5 second settlement times, 0.00001 XRP in transaction cost, 500 plus transactions per second, scalable to enterprise volume. This isn't a future use case. This is live right now. RippleNet is processing billions in volume, with over 70% of ODL transactions using XRP. The XRP ledger has never gone down, never forked, and never needed a bailout. You want reliability? You want regulatory progress? Ripple just secured licenses in Singapore, Dubai, and Ireland, all post-SEC ruling. That's not speculation. That's global alignment in motion. XLM, the humanitarian Trojan horse of digital finance. Stellar often gets overlooked because of its branding, helping the underbanked, remittances, financial inclusion. But don't be fooled. That's just the surface layer. What Stellar is really building is a global permissionless value layer, designed to plug directly into the digital currency systems of tomorrow. XLM powers the Stellar network, the same network now being used by MoneyGram for stablecoin-based remittance rails, Circle to issue and move USDC cross-border, Palau and Ukraine to test sovereign digital currencies, Stellar Soroban to launch DeFi smart contracts with compliance baked in. Stellar isn't just humanitarian, it's geopolitical. Its focus on compliance and public-private cooperation makes it a go-to blockchain for governments looking to launch CBDCs and asset-backed tokens without chaos. Its simple tokenization tools and near-zero fees make it ideal for issuing stablecoins, loyalty points, carbon credits, you name it. XLM isn't trying to dominate. It's trying to enable. And in the coming years, that will be its superpower. XDC, the enterprise-grade secret weapon of trade finance. If XRP is for payments and XLM is for issuance, then XDC is for the nuts and bolts of global commerce. Trade finance isn't sexy. It doesn't get headlines. But it's the backbone of the global economy. We're talking about the ecosystem of documents, payments, contracts, and credit that enable cargo ships to move, invoices to be paid, and businesses to grow across borders. XDC is built on the XDC Network, a high-speed, low-fee, EVM-compatible chain optimized for institutional usage. And here's what sets it apart. ISO 20022 compliance. Partnerships with organizations like the Trade Finance Distribution Initiative, TFD, and IMDA. Working with TradeFinix to tokenize invoices, letters of credit, and other financial instruments. Real usage in SME lending, invoice factoring, and trade credit insurance. That means real-world assets, real regulatory alignment, real revenue-generating use cases, not some speculative narrative. And while the crypto crowd is glued to gaming coins and yield farms, XDC is sitting at the center of a multi-trillion-dollar transformation, where blockchain turns paper and PDFs into programmable, transferable digital contracts. Together, a trifecta that will power the digital economy. These three are not competing. They are complementary weapons in the digital transformation of money. XRP moves high-volume liquidity across borders. XLM enables issuance and settlement for stablecoins, CBDCs, and tokenized assets. XDC bridges the analog trade world into Web3 efficiency. Remittances, government payments, international trade, digital cash. These aren't hypothetical categories, they are trillion-dollar sectors. And these three assets are being embedded directly into the pipes. You want to talk about adoption? Adoption isn't viral marketing. Adoption is when your token becomes invisible, because it's just part of the system. That's where XRP, XLM, and XDC are headed. They're not chasing hype. They're building the plumbing. Most coins chase narratives. These coins chase integration. And when the world wakes up, it won't be because a YouTuber said buy. It'll be because their bank used XRP to settle a wire transfer. Their digital wallet used XLM to issue government aid. Their logistics provider used XDC to tokenize a bill of lading. By then, these assets won't be optional. They'll be infrastructure. And the only people who won't be shocked are the ones who were paying attention now. The institutional blueprint is already laid. Here's what 90% of people don't understand. The train has already left the station. While most are waiting for some big announcement to jump in, the truth is, the infrastructure is already live. Let's talk examples. RippleNet has onboarded hundreds of financial institutions. XRP is being used for on-demand liquidity (ODL) across corridors in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America. Regulatory clarity post-SEC ruling has unlocked new markets. Stellar is working with MoneyGram, Circle, and governments like Ukraine to issue digital assets. Its integration with Sorbonne smart contracts is a game-changer, opening DeFi and programmable asset issuance. XDC Network is working with TradeFinex, the IMDA, and other institutional partners to tokenize trade documents and streamline global commerce. XDC is ISO 20022 compliant and already used by regulated entities. So while the public watches charts and price action, institutions are building with these protocols. The blueprint is already active. The pipes are laid. All that remains is the flood of value that will run through them. The coming flip from speculation to utility. The crypto market is going through a seismic transition. For the past decade, it's been driven by speculation. Coins pump on memes, influencers, and narratives. But that's changing fast. What's emerging now is a utility-driven cycle. A financial system where tokens are used not to get rich quick, but to move money, settle transactions, verify identity, and connect nations. XRP, XLM, and XDC are perfectly positioned for this shift. They were never designed for hype. They were designed for use. And now that use is coming online, XRP is settling hundreds of millions in real-world value weekly. Post-lawsuit, Ripple is securing licenses in Dubai, Singapore, and the UK. XLM is running real pilots with CBDCs and payment firms in emerging markets. XDC is being used to tokenize invoices, bills of lading, and other core trade documents. This isn't theory. It's not a roadmap. It's live deployments. The next bull cycle will be driven by real-world metrics. And when the market catches on to the scale of what's happening, 90% of people will be shocked at how fast these tokens move. The shock is coming, and it won't wait. Here's the hard truth. The XRP, XLM, and XDC story isn't just about upside. It's about being early to the new financial system. By the time these tokens are featured on CNBC, by the time your favorite influencer is screaming about them, by the time retail FOMO kicks in, the real opportunity will be gone. Right now, you still have time. But the window is closing. Ripple is expanding aggressively post-SEC. Stellar is embedding smart contracts into production. XDC is being invited into regulatory sandboxes around the world. And all three are tied to the ISO 20022 messaging standard that will govern trillions in value. So what happens when utility meets clarity? Price explodes. Not because of hype, but because these assets become essential infrastructure. Like oil to the financial engine. Like TCP, IP to the internet. 90% of the world will miss this. They'll be looking at charts. Meanwhile, those paying attention, they'll already be on the other side of the shift. Don't sleep on this. This isn't just another video about crypto. This is a wake-up call. XRP, XLM, and XDC aren't lottery tickets. They are early stakes in the new financial order. They represent access to the protocols that central banks, fintechs, trade networks, and institutions are already adopting. The world is about to be shocked. Not by some hype narrative, but by the sudden realization that the infrastructure of money has changed and no one told them. Don't be one of them. Subscribe to Be Crypto Smart, because we're not chasing noise. We're watching the future being built in real time.